Hi guys, Lady V here. Today's project we're going to be working with acrylic inks, and you should have this in your materials that we're going to be using. You should have a sprayer and you should have some watercolor paper. So I'm going to put this down and I'm going to show you a little bit about what we're going to be doing in exploring paint together. So acrylic ink is super fluid. There's two different ways to work with it. One is on a dry surface and one is on a sprayed surface using this and spraying it. Now the difference between the two is that when we put down this ink, I want you to watch what happens. On a sprayed surface, you see how it just explodes? It's very cool, right? So we're going to be making some art that is allowing the paint to do what it wants to do. Additionally, when you put this on a dry surface, now watch what it does. The dot just stays, doesn't move. Okay. So we can add many colors, but what I'm going to say is I would keep it down to like 3 or 4 colors. I'm going to create fire today, and fire is going to represent my anger, let's say. So I'm going to drop down a couple of yellows, and then I'm going to drop that yellow into the other surface and see what it does. So it kind of stays and blends. Part of this process is just a discovery of what happens with paint when we're playing with it. So watch what happens on the dry part when we spray it. See how it takes legs and it grows? Look how that happens. Kind of interesting, and that's kind of like what happens with anger. Anger starts with a couple of maybe triggers and turns into like this whole energy, explosion of energy in color. So what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to be playing and merging these two types of paint techniques together and just literally rotating this paper so that you can find a cool pattern that you want to keep. See how that just took off? It's kind of cool. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let it dry, and then we're going to use black marker on it to start to make outlines and to put messages about what anger is or how does anger fit or feel in our body. This also could be an example of passion too, just passionate about something. But for all intents and purposes, from an art perspective, we're just looking to see what happens when we use ink and when we use water and we use a dry surface, which is this one, and then a pre-soaked wet surface. Capish kapashka? One thing about dyes and inks is they will stain your fingers. So be very, very careful where you're spraying them. You may want to step outside when you start to spray the water because it will run off the page and onto the floor of the classroom, okay? So have some fun. This is just the beginning.